Hello, everyone. My name's Tori, and I was half paralyzed 6 months ago. I went from an elite athlete to being entirely half paralyzed on the left side of my body. I was a newborn baby learning how to walk again. There's no other way to put it. I was basically stuck in a hospital with a nitrogen bubble in my brain just wreaking havoc. So, how do I look 6 months later? Well, spoiler alert, it ain't pretty, but I have come a long way over the last 6 months, and I can at least share with you the emotional journey and the physical struggle that it's been. Before we dive in, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's very small. Every little bit counts. As far as I know, I'm only one of two, maybe three people that have experienced decompression sickness at this level, and I'm definitely the only one documenting it from start to finish. So if you want to be part of this unique comeback story, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you enjoy the video, be sure to give it a like later on. Now let's get back to it. So there's three phases. There's the wheelchair phase, there's the cane phase, and then there's the walking phase. And there's tons of emotions mixed in between that, and I'll get to that as we go. The wheelchair phase was marked by overconfidence, frequent injuries, and limited mobility. I remember the first time I truly acknowledged the severity of the situation. Using my one arm, I tried to sit myself up in the hospital bed, and I came crashing back down, hit my head on the IV stand really hard. You see, we take for granted our ability to overpower gravity. And the second we have no power to do that, you'll come crashing down like a 90-kilogram kettlebell because you are that 90-kilogram kettlebell. I couldn't even sit up. I couldn't hold myself in a seated position like I am now. The only thing I was capable of was laying in bed. I felt like a prisoner in my own body. It was a surreal, out-of-body experience, all while being trapped in my failing body. Kinda weird. And worse, my condition was deteriorating, with nearly 48 hours to go before I would receive my first hyperbaric treatment. Time is critical in situations like this. Every second without treatment for decompression sickness adds weeks, months, or even years to the recovery process. The damage compounds exponentially with every passing moment. That nitrogen bubble was actively destroying my brain during this time, and every additional second meant exponentially more recovery time. 2 days later, and a total of 3 days in this condition, I arrived at the hyperbaric chamber to finally battle this one-sided fight against the nitrogen bubble in my brain. At this point, I could barely speak. This was me being shoved in the steel tube for the first time. You can see I'm holding my left hand. This was to prevent it from falling lifelessly to the ground as everyone available muscled me into the steel coffin. It felt like I was being swallowed whole by a snake. It was hot in there, really hot. I'll talk more about this in another video later. I wasn't expecting miracles, but I was sure hoping for them. At first, I couldn't even move a finger, not a toe, and especially not my foot or my leg. My left side was dead to the world. It all started with a twitch. It was my ring finger on my left side, this one. I mean, just this piece right here, just that piece started to move. I was looking at it, I was in the hyperbaric chamber, and I wanted it to move, and it moved. Up until this moment, I had been paralyzed for 3 days. So this was overwhelming hope, all being carried in that one little finger. I can't tell you how exciting that was. I remember screaming. They must have thought something was wrong. I was like, come look. They're like, what is it? What is it? My finger, it's moving. It's moving so little that they're like, why is he so happy about that little piece of his finger moving? But it's those small moments that give you that reflection of hope that this is going to be okay. This was me after the first chamber session later that evening. What you're seeing is the exact moment I realized I could bear weight on my left leg. Not walk, but bear weight on my left leg. I couldn't even sit up in bed the day prior without crashing back down. I was finally fighting back against this stupid bubble. I had a fighting chance. So what did I do? I did what anyone would do. Started dancing, finger pointing, and jellyfish dancing. Now this brings me to the wheelchair phase. The only time I could actually walk during the wheelchair phase was if somebody could roll me over to a pool, and I would ever so graciously roll into the water, for a better choice of words. But if somebody could get me to the water and get me into the water safely, that's my mom. After leaving the hospital, she found a hotel with a pool nearby, which was a great idea. She arrived from Florida 2 weeks after the incident occurred and stayed for another 2 weeks to help care for me, because I needed it. With the absence of gravity, I could almost tricked my body into thinking, hey, I can stand up again. I can sort of stand up. I can sort of walk. I can't stress enough how much getting in the pool built my confidence just for one day being able to walk again. During this phase, it doesn't feel like I was as paralyzed as I was. You don't believe that half your body doesn't work. You just don't wake up, become half paralyzed, and just accept it. It's just impossible. You just don't believe it. You use what you got and you think, it can't be that bad, but it is that bad. So the weird thing is, half of your body works. So you would think you can get around with half of your body. But yeah, it's just you that thinks that. Your body doesn't think that. Your body thinks it needs the whole body. The whole body, not half the body, or you're getting no body. This can be dangerous. You can think that you can walk when you can't walk. So the reason I'm bringing this up, on several occasions, I thought, I'm not going to pee by the bedside today. I'm going to be a big boy. I'm going to get to the bathroom independently, all on my own. Yeah, I fell down hard several times because overly confident. You don't believe that half your body doesn't work. But I could feel everything. You feel everything. That's kind of the crappy thing, is like if your foot's jammed up against something, you feel all the pain, but you can't move it. And so I would use my other leg to push the other leg around if I needed to hook the other leg and move it around if I needed to. And then the day came when I entered into the cane phase. The cane phase was like being a teenager all over again. I was escaping the hospital and about to explore the world. Now that I've entered into the cane phase, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the three things that have held me back and haunted me, and that is spasticity in the leg, foot drop, and hyperextension. I'm going to talk about these as I go and how these three things correspond with all of the new activities I was trying to do. During this phase, I kept spraining my ankle because I had foot drop, and foot drop is when your foot is just dragging on the ground, or you're having to lift it up extra to get it to where it needs to go because it won't dorsiflex like that. Yeah, I sprained my foot so much. It's so annoying. Like, imagine spraining your foot and then 2 seconds later spraining it again, and then 5 seconds later spraining it again. It's like every day you're like, oh my God, how many times can you sprain your foot in one day? I lost count. It hurt. But the upside was I was about to start exploring the world again. This was exciting and dangerous. I was about to start gaining my independence back little by little. So this was a brand new world for me. I was ready to start doing things like go to the gym, walk up and down stairs, learn how to ride my scooter, traveling to a neighboring island, even learning how to dance again. Also swimming, which is a lot different than the walking in the water that I did during the wheelchair phase. If I was a baby during the wheelchair phase, now I was a teenager ready to take on the world. So what's it like going up and down stairs after something like this happens? Well, it sucks. It sucks a lot. And I can't talk about this unless telling you a little bit more about hyperextension. Take a look at the graphic, and I think it does most of the explanation, but basically your knee is bending in a very unusual way, backwards. Your leg is normally never completely straight when you're walking. It's always a little bit bent. It's never locked. But when it's hyperextended, it's locked. And so that's kind of how I was walking. Locked, locked, locked. So going up and down stairs kind of sucks. Even normal regular walking kind of sucks. Kind of sucks a lot. The ligaments aren't meant to be bending in this weird backwards like motion. There you go. Do you see it? Let's rewind a little bit. Foot drop, followed by hyperextension, all in one shot. This has been the story of my walking career ever since I started walking again. Hyperextension, foot drop, and different varying degrees of it. All the way until this day, still. We'll get to the spasticity here in a second. What was it like to swim again? Okay, this is a lot different than just walking. Spasticity is when all the muscles in the legs are stiffening up unnecessarily. It's because they're learning how to walk again, and when you put them into new situations, the signal's being sent now, and the muscles are reacting, but they're not reacting in the right way. That's the best way I could put it. And so constantly, if I was in the water, it would stiffen up because absence of gravity. It doesn't know how to deal with that yet. It doesn't know how to deal with that. Walking upstairs, getting off a scooter, getting out of bed, anything, it would get spastic. It would start to stiffen up unnecessarily. Stupid. It sucks. What was it like going to a neighboring island after this happened? Doing something totally leisure, something totally should be normal? Well, it was scary because everything Everything during this period of time is scary. You've gone from a baby to a teenager and you're exploring the world now. I hope you're appreciating all my characters that have headbands on. Everything's new and scary. You've never done it after an incident like this. Everything's a lot harder. You're not sure if you're biting off more than you can chew. But it was good for the soul. It was definitely good for the soul. Everything during this time is scary. If I hadn't done it since the incident, everything's scary. I'm always wondering, am I biting off more than I can chew? What was it like to drive a scooter again? That was scary, and I needed it for my mobility, to get around, to be independent. And oddly enough, it's very easy to drive a scooter. It's just a lot harder to stop and park and kick down the kickstand and get off gracefully. That's hard to do. What was it like to dance again? What was that like? I've been in scenarios where I would be trying to dance, but it's more dangerous than it is dancing. I didn't mean to put myself in scenarios where there was dancing, but man, I love to dance. That's what I would do before I was freediving, and so usually if I'm on the dance floor, I'm grabbing the girl, I'm spinning her around. Everybody that knows me knows that's what I do. And so it was one of the harder things to be in that kind of scenario and not being able to do that. Can't do it. At least not yet. Not again. If you can't tell, I've desperately been trying to add some semblance of normalcy back into my life. In a desperate attempt to pretend this never happened. One thing after another, I'm trying to do just like a normal person. But the fact is, I'm not a normal person anymore. I'm handicapped and partially crippled until I'm fully recovered. And that's a tough pill to swallow. Nevertheless, I'll keep making these attempts at normalcy. What was it like going to the gym? Well, I went to the gym a lot, so I've always done strength training, powerlifting. When I first got to the gym, I needed a ton of assistance. Luckily, I was at a gym where people were assisting me. Like just moving the weights around, like moving things around on a machine was very difficult. Sometimes I couldn't do it at all. And so it really benefited me to be at a gym where people could help me. People that worked there could help me. It was kind of part of the service. Going to the gym was a love-hate relationship, like it always is. It was really exciting to see a certain level of strength come back so quickly. What didn't come back quickly was my nerve strength. If I could hold a 20-kilogram dumbbell, I could only hold it for a few seconds before the nerves gave out. Extended strength was shot, completely lost. Good news is, that has since gotten a lot better, but hardly back to normal levels. It's like having tons of horsepower in a car, but no gas to drive it, and not in a stamina or endurance kind of way. Really weird. Funny thing about walking with a cane is you have this built-in excuse for people to get out of your way. Get out the way! Constantly. And it's kind of nice in that respect. People will get out of your way. Get out the way! They'll open doors for you. It's kind of nice. And so when I finally got rid of the cane, people just are looking at you funny. They're like, something's wrong with him. But when you have the cane, they're like, oh, he's got a cane. There's supposed to be something wrong with him. Okay, now I'm in the walking phase. I'm in the I don't need the cane phase. To be fair, I'm still in that phase. On the first day, I chose to be so brave and leave my cane at home. That's what you're seeing. You can see my balance is still really bad, but you can also see how brave I am. The first time I approached any kind of stairs without a guardrail or a handrail and without a cane was a frightening prospect. Can you see how brave I am? But as you can see, there's a lot of room for improvement. During the walking phase, you start to trust yourself, or at least you're putting trust in yourself that you're not going to fall over. Your balance is good enough. Still walking like a weirdo, only blending in maybe 20% of the time. And if people are just looking at you for 15 seconds, they're going to catch that you're weird. Nowadays, it just looks like I have a small limp. And if you look at me long enough, you know, maybe it's a little bit more than a limp. But it is getting better every day. So yeah, clearly I've come a long way and I have a lot to be grateful for since those first days when I couldn't move at all. Well, there you have it, from being half paralyzed to wheelchair and now walking. That's just a glimpse into the last 6 months. Admittedly, most of the improvement happened between the wheelchair and the cane phase. Everything I do now is an attempt at regaining normalcy back into my life. It's been a painstaking journey of trying to rebuild independence and take on new activities, all while having no idea if I should be doing that in the first place. Half of my body is learning to live again, while the other half still remembers how. If you stuck around to follow my journey or care enough to even follow it, thank you. I plan to share more about this experience and update you on my walking as time goes on. I want to run again. And funny thing, I never liked running. but I want to run so bad now. There's so much more to talk about. My arm movement, my head movement, my ability to talk, it was all compromised. But one thing's for sure, no freediver in history has experienced this level of injury in decompression sickness and documented everything from start to finish. I've recorded everything, and I want to share it with the world because I think the world deserves to know. Thanks again for sticking around till the end. Reliving the last 6 months was a bundle of emotions. There's been plenty of heartache, there was a lot of grueling rehab. It was a solitary celebration of gentle improvements, every step of the way that nobody else would notice except me. My goal in 2025 is to share all of those small improvements and the incredibly terrible yet fascinating story that occurred. I'll try to find the silver lining along the way so it doesn't have to be a solitary celebration anymore.